Hi, this is Allison with another home yoga practice. And in this practice, we're going to focus on the earth element of the lower legs and how stabilizing this part of our body can help us open up in the hips so the hips become more like water, accommodating, fluid, graceful. As always, to begin, start in a comfortable seat. And I recommend today for this practice sitting on a block. And you're going to sit on this block so that it is long and it's on the shorter side. And then take your feet out in front of you and place your hands on your outer upper calves and press your outer upper calves together. So you're like rolling the calf muscles in. This is drawing the shins in together. Often they're watery. The shins just drop out. But we're going to hug them in, and it's like creating the banks of a river. So then as we open our hips have a boundary that's going to allow their opening to be more powerful. So take your hands, one on the upper inner thigh, one on the sitting bone, and roll your upper inner thigh back and apart. Do that on both sides, and then close your eyes and breathe. Connect with your breath. Your breath like the flow of water. Maybe even the ocean. And your body is the boundary. It's the earth, it's the container. And then you're going to begin your practice in a wide-legged stance. And then you're going to bend your left knee, take your hand to your outer left calf and press in on your outer left calf and move your hips back. And then change to the right side, right knee bent, right hand to your right calf, press in so you can move your hips back. First side, second time, left knee bent, stabilize the shin so you can open, you can flood the hips open. Come over to the left, left knee bends, hand to the outside edge of your left shin, move the hips back, the flood in the hips. Good. Now from here, go to the first side again, and this time lift the outer blade of your right foot. So your left knee's bent, right outer blade lifting. Then bend your right knee, lift the outer edge of your left foot. So really lifting the outer edge of your foot, left knee bent, right outer foot lifting, will charge the calf and the shin. Again, to the right side, right knee bent, lift your left outer foot. Excellent. And then come back to the center. And if it's available to you, bow forward and place your hands on the upper outer shins, the upper outer calves, and press in, stabilizing the lower legs so you can open, widen, expand the hips. With your next inhale, rise to standing and heel toe or hop your feet together. And here, with hip distance apart in your feet, fan your toes. Fan your toes, especially try to peel your pinky toe away so your feet are active. And then step to the top of your mat. Inhale, reach up to the sky. Exhale, bow forward, Uttanasana. With your next in-breath, bend your knees, move your hips back and your heart forward. And then exhale, stretch through your legs and bow. 2 more times. Inhale, bending your knees to take the hips back and your heart forward. Exhale, stretch through your legs and bow. Last one, strong legs. Lengthen your spine with your in-breath. Exhale, stretch through your legs and bow. Place your hands and step back, downward facing dog. Bend your knees in down dog. Hug your shins together, hug your heels together, and then use that strength of your legs to press your thigh bones back. Pressing the thigh bones back will help integrate the head of your femur bone, your thigh bone, in your hip socket. Very good for your hips, very good for your low back. Keep your legs strong and come forward to plank pose. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, rise up cobra or up dog. And then exhale, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, bend your knees, look forward at your hands, and step or hop to Uttanasana with strong, steady legs. Exhale, root down into your legs, and then inhale, rise to standing. For our next version of sun salutations, you're going to take a block and place it long ways in between your calves. And you're going to place the block on the thick part of your calf, so that thickest part of the calf muscle right beneath your knee, and then step back up to the top of your mat. Keep hugging the block in between your shins, and with your inhale, reach to the sky. With your exhale, bow to the earth. Hug the block in between your shins as you inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, stretch through your legs. 2 more, just like that. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to bow. 1 more. Inhale, lengthen and expand. Exhale, bow. Keep the block in between your shins and step back to downward facing dog. Keep hugging the block in between your shins. Tap that raw earth power of your lower legs and come forward to plank pose with more strength than you've ever felt before. Stay steady in plank pose. Hug the block in between your shins and then move back to downward facing dog. 2 more times. Inhale, float forward to plank pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward, hold the block in between your shins, strong and steady lower legs, steady like the earth, lower down, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. You might need to negotiate with the block, but press your feet down, hug the block, inhale, rise cobra or up dog. And then tuck your toes, keep the block, make your way back to downward facing dog. Keep your block even as you come forward, step or hop back to Uttanasana. It's challenging, and it's practice, and it's training to help you stay steady in this part of your body. Exhale, bow forward, and then inhale, rise to standing. Now your forearms correlate to your shins. It's the same part of your body, just in your upper arms. So you're going to create the same awareness there. So place the block on your forearms right beneath your elbows. Extend your arms out in front of you and draw your shoulder blades on your back. And then keep hugging the block and take your arms up overhead. Keep hugging the block and lower your arms out in front of you. 2 more times. Hug the block, raise your arms up overhead. Hug the block, lower your arms out in front of you. Again, inhale, raise your arms up overhead, squeeze the block in between your forearms, and this time exhale, bow all the way forward to Uttanasana. Place your palms on the floor, bend your knees as much as you need to, and then step back to downward facing dog. Keep hugging the block in between your forearms, come forward to plank pose. And then exhale, downward facing dog. 2 more, hug the block, inhale to plank pose. Hug the block, downward facing dog. 1 more, inhale, plank pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. It's like a game. Have fun. Try something new. Then bend your knees, step or hop to Uttanasana, hug the block, and raise your arms up overhead. Excellent work. Slowly lower back down. This time, place the block thin ways. in between your upper inner thighs. Often the thigh bones move forward, so this helps us keep awareness of the thigh bones need to move back. The block needs to move back. Step to the top of your mat. Inhale, reach to the sky. Exhale, bow to the earth. Inhale, lengthen your spine forward. Exhale, stretch through your legs, bow, press your thigh bones back. 2 more. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Use your leg muscles to press your thigh bones back. Block moves back. Last one. Inhale, lengthen and expand. Exhale, press your thigh bones back. And then place your hands and step or hop to downward facing dog. Keep your thigh bones moving back here. And even keep your thigh bones moving back as you inhale and come forward to plank pose. This will increase the strength in your upper inner thighs, and it's excellent for your low back. Lower down. You may need to negotiate with the block, but keep the block even as you inhale, rise up cobra or up dog. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Keep your block. Tone the upper inner thighs. Stay strong and steady. Again, inhale, come forward to plank pose. Exhale, lower. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Hold the block in the upper inner thighs. It'll train your body to be strong. Exhale, downward facing dog. One last time. Inhale to plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, rise cobra or up dog. We often underestimate our own strength, especially in our legs. Exhale, downward facing dog. From here, bend your knees. Power up your legs. Move the block back. And then step or hop to Uttanasana. And then inhale, rise to standing. Hands come through heart center and remove your block. We're going to go through one more sun salutation, totally free, but keep the strength that you learned you have. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen your spine, and then step back, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, float forward to plank pose. Exhale, lower. Inhale, rise cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, you're going to bring your thumbs together so your hands are close, and you're going to step your right hand to the right pinky side. So your right foot to the right pinky side, and you're going to hug your right knee into your right upper arm. So you're hugging power into your center. You're hugging the lower legs in. This can be great for stabilizing your sacrum and your low back. Step back to downward facing dog, and then bring your left foot to the left pinky side of your hand. Hug your left knee towards your left upper arm. Really squeeze in. And then step back, downward facing dog. Next, you're going to bring your right foot forward, this time for a high lunge. Scissor your legs together, hug your legs together like we just did, and then take your arms up overhead. It's the power in your legs and in your feet, especially in your lower legs, that gives you more liberty to rise through your upper body, through your hands. Exhale, place your hands and change sides, bringing your left foot forward. Hug your legs together. It's like you're compressing your energy, compressing your power, and then you can use that power to reach up overhead into the high lunge. Stay steady in your lower legs like you're moving them towards one another. And then exhale, place your hands, downward facing dog. Next, bring your right foot forward, left knee down for a low lunge. Hug your left knee towards your right heel so there's power in your legs. And then with power in your legs, you can let your hips be a little more accommodating. They move to the earth, they get a little more watery. And you reach up through your sternum, reach up through your fingertips. Exhale, touch the earth, downward facing dog, and change sides, bringing your left foot forward, right knee down. Hug your right knee towards your left heel. Keep your back toes tucked under so you're stabilizing your lower legs. You're accessing that earth energy. So then your hips can be more like water, more accommodating. And then out of that accommodating energy of the hips, you rise up through your sternum, rise up through each and every little fingertip. Exhale, touch the earth, downward facing dog. And from downward facing dog, bring your right foot forward for pigeon pose. Keep your back toes tucked under. That's going to stabilize your shin, and keep your back shin hugging in. It's easy for it to drop out. And then by engaging your lower legs more fully and actively, you're going to have more support, more opportunity for opening your hips, allowing the hips to widen and expand and like they're melting towards the earth. Keep the back shin steady. Pinky side of your front foot is pressing down. And then transition to the second side. Again, back toes tucked under, back shin hugging in, front pinky toe pressing down, and the earth energy of your lower legs provides a boundary, provides stability for your hips to open. Use your breath to expand your hips, to open up your own potential. And make your way back to downward facing dog. Bend your knees deep, move your hips back, and then press your thigh bones back, coming into more integration in the hip socket with the thigh bone. And then from downward facing dog, come onto your hands and knees, and you're going to sit up on your knees for Ustrasana, camel's pose. Tuck your toes under and hug your heels together so your shins are stable. And with your hands on your hips, you can move your pelvis forward, but keep your inner thighs moving back and apart. You can even place your hands on your upper inner thighs to remember that alignment. And then lift your sternum up, lift your heart towards the sky. You can stay here or take one hand to your heel and then the other. Keep your shins steady, your toes tucked under, and your inner thighs flowing back and apart. That accommodating energy in your hips allows you to lift your heart. Then inhale, come back up. Exhale, sit back on your heels. Pause and breathe. And make your way onto your back for bridge pose. In bridge pose, hug your heels together so there's strong energy in your shins. And press down on your elbows. Hug your forearms, your hands together so there's strong energy there as well. And then work your shoulder blades onto your back, press into your feet and lift your hips. And then you can clasp your hands underneath you if that's available to you. If it is, press the pinky side of your hand down. That will stabilize your forearms. And then lower your hips about 3 inches. And then hug your lower legs together and lift your hips up. But keep more fluid water energy in your pelvis. Keep your low back wide. And then exhale and slowly lower your hips down to the earth. And roll to your right side. We're going to do a half Hanumanasana variation. So you're going to use your blocks. We're not going to go into the full yogi splits, but we're going to use the energy of the lower legs and hips to feel what it's like to go into this posture with great alignment. So walk your right foot out in front of you, hug your shin in, and hug your left shin in. Imagine you're holding something in between your two heels. And then that steadiness in your lower legs is going to allow you to start to melt your hips towards the floor. So that strong energy in the lower limbs provides more opening in your hips, more accommodating energy in your hips to go a little bit lower. Don't go all the way. Stay steady in your lower legs and stay balanced in your pelvis. Inhale, come out of the pose and change sides. Left leg out in front, feet flexed, hugging your shins in. That powerful earth energy, creating a boundary that you can expand against, that'll give you power and force in the opening of your hips. Particularly your back shin, keep it stable. Don't let your feet sickle. Slowly come out of the pose. And our last pose is going to be Uttanasana, your standing forward fold. Come to the top of your mat. Place your hands on your upper outer shins. Bend your knees. Press your shins in. And then press your thigh bones back to stretch your legs straight. We're going to do it one more time. You can do that the same way, or wrap your forearms around your shins. Hug them in to stretch your legs straight. Breathe here. Steady in your lower legs, open in your hips, free in your low back. And then last pose, come into a squat malasana. It's the perfect pose to represent this practice. Lift your 10 toes, engage your lower legs, and then you can let your hips just melt towards the floor. And then from Malasana, one last child's pose. Press your feet down, strong shins, melt your hip towards your heels, and rest in child's pose. Feeling the lower legs support the opening in your hips, feeling the earth create a boundary for which you can expand against. And then come on to your back and feel the earth supporting you. Feel the earth supporting you so that you can sink, you can melt, you can fully dissolve your effort and rest in Shavasana. You can set a timer so you can fully relax and receive the benefits of your practice. Thank you so much for diving into this alignment, for diving into this depth of your practice. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. Namaste.